Hello everyone, my name is Nitya Gopi, and for the next few minutes, I shall engage you with my methods presentation topic for the week. I'm sure at least once in your lifetime, you might have come across this statement right in front of you in the screen at the moment. Silence says a lot more than what you think, right? I believe most of you out here are either teachers or aspiring teachers. So let me ask you a question. Have you ever thought that you can actually teach someone without uttering a word, like maintaining absolute silence? Well, that sounds challenging, right? So, my topic for today is the silent way of language teaching. So, in this presentation, I will help you familiarize with this particular method of language teaching along with its definition, features, materials used, strengths and weaknesses, and last but not the least, an example of activity using this particular method. So let's get started. Definition. Silent way is an approach to learning and teaching foreign languages that allows the student to come to an understanding about the new language without imitating the teacher or relying on memorization. So in other words, how we can describe is that in this method, it is particularly designed to enable the students to become independent, autonomous, or responsible learners. All right. This method was invented by Dr. Caleb Gattegro. It derives its name from the fact that the teacher conducting a silent way class is silent for most of the time. Here, the learners should be encouraged to produce as much as language as possible. All right. Silence is considered the best vehicle for learning because in silence, students concentrate on the task to be accomplished and the potential means to its accomplishment. That means there is no other distraction. They can completely get focused into whatever is being, whatever they are asked in the class or whatever they are being taught by the facilitator. Now, moving on to the key features. Learning is facilitated in this method only if the learner discovers or creates rather than remembers or repeats what is to be learned. By accompanying physical object, that means there are various teaching aids which I will get you familiarized with in the future slides, which is used by the facilitator to actually engage the student in the whole process. Okay. So, what is unique about this whole process or this particular learning method is that the word meanings are made clear to the students by focusing on their perceptions and not translations. So, that is the uniqueness of this method. Here, the teacher primarily focuses on the progress of the student rather than perfection, and the student attention is the key to the method, to this particular method of learning. All right. And evaluation here is carried out through basic observation. That means there is no particular test or formal test that the students will have to appear. And instead, there will only be usages of materials to elicit and practice languages. All right. Now the objectives. An immediate objective is to provide the learner with basic practical knowledge of grammar of the language. Learners could be able to correctly and easily answer questions about themselves, their education, their family, travel, and daily events. Practical knowledge and use of target language is also promoted. They can speak with good accent, perform adequately in spelling, grammar, reading comprehension, and writing. Now let's see what are the basic materials that are used for this particular method of teaching. A rectangle or word chart, which is also called a feedle chart, colored wooden rods or Cucina rods, a pointer for the use with the charts, a set of wall charts containing words of functional vocabulary, tapes or discs, drawings or pictures. So these are some of the basic materials that are commonly used by the facilitator to engage the student in this kind of learning. So here I have included a feedle chart and the rods, which just for your understanding. So this is what how a feedle chart looks like. So likewise, there are several charts that are used to teach different aspects of learning. A rectangular chart, for instance, can be used to show the pronunciation of various phonemes of a language. Charts are there, which is a feudal vocabulary chart here at the right side and a feudal color chart, which is at the left side. And here are Legos, which are sometimes a replacement for these charts, colored charts. This is another prominent material used, that is Cucina rods. Now moving on to the application or the activity using this particular teaching method. The first part of the lesson focuses basically on the pronunciation. Rods, pictures, objects, or situations are other aids used for the presentation in order to connect sounds and meanings. Meaning is made clear by focusing the student's perception, not by translation. That is the basic unique fact. The teacher models a word, phrase, or sentence and then elicits learners' response. After modeling the utterance, the teacher will have a student attempt to produce the utterance and will indicate its acceptability. If the response of the student is incorrect, the teacher will now attempt to reshape the utterance or have another student present the correct model. Students are presented with structural patterns of the target language and learn the grammar rules of the language through largely intuitive processes. Lessons follow a sequence based on grammatical complexity and one element presented at a time. So as you can see, these are basically some of the hand gestures which is used by the teacher to make students understand what he or she is trying to convey. It's basically hand gestures without any words. Now, the advantages and disadvantages of this particular method of language teaching. Silent way learners acquire inner criteria, whereas methods used in it can be disadvantages that it can be used only for smaller groups. For larger groups, it can be kind of little not in, little kind of impractical. It creates adequately working interlanguage. The rigidity of the system may be meaningless at times for the learners. The self-esteem of the students will be increased and this will enhance the learning, whereas the demerit is that at an advanced level, it can be sometimes questionable. Learners gain practical knowledge and use of the target language. And disadvantage is that the language is separated from the social context and taught in artificial situations, which sometimes cannot be acceptable for the learners. So that's about it, everyone. So here I would like to conclude with this one, that is, let me grab your attention to a famous quote by Benjamin Franklin. This is that: tell me and I forget, teach me and I may remember, involve me and I learn. Yeah, this is what exactly the silent way of language teaching is all about. Yeah, thank you so much for your time. Have a good day.